What's up, everyone? MRW talking NBA trade rumors. What will the Bulls do with Jimmy Butler? Here's what I think they will do. He will get moved. You have to move him. The reason why, he is pushing on the age of 28. He is in his prime. The Bulls are not winning a title anytime soon. By the time they are in a position to win a title, Butler will be too old to even help the team out at that point. It takes time to build chemistry. You have a coach, a first-time NBA head coach who is not a first time, but he is now into the second year of his project. Still does not have the players. He does not have the players to run that Mike D'Antoni, Steve Kerr style type system. By the time you get those players, they need to gel. And then from there, they need to start winning. And that takes time. That takes time. And if Butler is going to be the focal point, you needed to have those players last year, which is pretty much what everyone thought was going to happen when they signed Hoiberg. We were expecting for the signing, the acquiring of players that can pass, players that can shoot, players that can make plays, and we still don't see it. We still have players with limited shooting ability who are good defenders, but this system doesn't require that. In this system, much of the defense will be the offense. It's what you see with the Houston Rockets right now. Most of their defense, if not all of it, is predicated on their offense. Same thing with the Golden State Warriors, but they do actually play real stifling defense. As we've seen in seasons past or 2 seasons ago, they can really choke the life out of a team's offense. So, but with the Bulls, I really do think that this is going to be more of a Mike D'Antoni style system. So this is what the Bulls need to do. This is pretty much what they have to do. Whether you love Jimmy Butler or not, you have to do it. At this point, it just makes sense, right? The reason why is because Derrick Rose's body broke down on him. That's the reason why. You can trade Butler to the Boston Celtics. The reason why is because that trade has been in talks for many months, maybe over a year, right? Big trades like that just don't happen overnight. A team like Chicago does not wake up one morning saying, all right, we need to trade Butler to the Celtics for all those players. And the Celtics, get a call they get a call from Chicago, from Bulls management, and they hash it out. That doesn't happen in a matter of hours or days, man. You're talking weeks or months. So more than likely, whichever team he gets traded to, whether it is to Boston, to a team like Utah, to a team like the Lakers, just know that those two teams have been in talks. They have been discussing that trade for a long time, for a very, very, very long time. I know that about a year ago, Chicago was in talk. They were talking with Boston, and that trade didn't go down because the Bulls, typical Bulls management, supposedly wanted way too much. All right. The rumor was the proposed trade was. It was some combination of players involved, including Jay Crowder, Avery Bradley, then it was Marcus Smart, and there was one more player. No, it was just those 3 players. Then it might have been a draft pick. I believe it was that Brooklyn draft pick, which is kind of what they need right now. The Celtics have 2. They have those 2 Brooklyn Nets draft picks. Chicago has to get one of them, right? They need to get one of them. But the other player was Jaylen Brown. At least that was this year, supposedly. It's been Jaylen Brown. It sounds like Boston is not willing to part with Jaylen Brown. So what do? All right, if you're Chicago, I say look at a team like Utah. Utah has a few good offensive players. They've got Brogdon. I believe he's the rookie coming off the bench. Not only can he shoot, he can make plays. He can make plays. I like Derek Favors. He is young. He's a young big. I know he's coming off a leg injury, but he's not injury prone. Taj is, like what, 32, 33 years old. Favors is still early 20s, right? Still young and promising. I think you have to look at Utah for those two players. And then you look at a team like LA, right? Tinseltown. Luke Walton, first year head coach. I know that he's still in the process of implementing his system. Right now, the Lakers are sliding a bit. They got off to a great start, a hot start. But I think right now, a team like the LA, like Chicago, they get off to great starts, but they're coming back down to earth. It's all about the laws of average. Pretty much these two teams are what most people thought that they would be. They just defy expectations early on. Now, teams have figured them out a bit. It's time to make a trade. The Lakers are very, very, very young, very young. And in that city, you cannot, historically, the Lakers have never stayed young for too long, all right? They want to win. They want to win titles. They don't want to, they don't strike me, even though Old Man Bus is no longer running the team right now, they don't particularly strike me as, they don't strike me as a franchise that is going to wait 3, 4, 5 years on that talent to develop. If they can pick up Jimmy Butler and part ways with two of their players plus a draft pick, that makes sense. Who they part ways with? Well, if you're going to have Jimmy Butler on that wing scoring points like that, you would likely have to give up. I mean, I'm looking at players like an Ingram. If not Ingram, then you have to look at Nick Young. The Bulls are going to need shooters, right? Nick Young can fill it up. He can fill it up. So it would be some combination of like an Ingram, Nick Young. I don't think they trade Russell. I'm not even a Russell fan. I know that many people are not a Russell fan, but I don't think you trade Russell. He's your point guard, too high of a draft pick. His ceiling is still pretty high. It's still pretty high. Julius Randle, possibly. You know what? I'm looking at Larry Nance Jr. I'm a huge Larry Nance Jr. fan. So what about Brandon Ingram, Larry Nance Jr. and a draft pick? I'm not sure if that even works, but if you can get those two players involved, you bring in Butler. So you still have your perimeter scoring plus your perimeter defense. I'm liking that. Like, I'm not even a hardcore Bulls fan, but you're not going to get equal value. So you have to come close. But you cannot let him walk away. You just cannot let this dude walk away, right? And you cannot wait for his body to break down and then attempt to trade him, right? You can't do that. You can't wait for him to go down with a knee injury and then trade him. Do it now while his value is high. Don't ask for too much. Just all you need is a young talent. You're not trading. Butler's an all-star, but you're not trying to get an all-star back in return. You're trying to get a promising future all-star. That's all Chicago needs right now. It's just that. But yeah, Fred Hoiberg, we're like, 1.5 seasons into this new sort of soft, sort of kind of, we don't know what it is. Is it a rebuild? Is it not? Almost 2 seasons into it, he needs the players to run the system. I really do hope that Chicago goes out, gets the players for him to run his system. He does not need defensive players that can't shoot the long ball, right? He needs the opposite. He needs players that play in LA, that play in Golden State, that play in Utah. Guys that can score, man. Guys that can make plays for others. What do you guys think? What should the Bulls do before the trade deadline? Do you part ways with Jimmy Butler? Do you not part ways with Jimmy Butler? Who do you get? What players do you need to make this sort of run and gun style system that the Bulls are trying to implement work? Questions, comments below. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Until next time.